Whispers behind velvet doors. Cameron Vale wasn't the kind of man who got scared easily. As a rising journalist for the Beacon Tribune, he had made a name for himself infiltrating shady government contractors, busting underground gambling rings, and exposing cult-like startup companies that turned their interns into virtual prisoners. But nothing could have prepared him for Club Andromeda, a secretive, invite-only venue whispered about in hushed tones on encrypted forums and elite fetish subreddits. The tip had come from a desperate former member. "It's not just a club," she had warned over a burner call. "It's a conversion machine. They don't break people, they erase them," Cameron had scoffed. But now, standing in a forgotten alleyway behind a half-boarded-up deli in Lower Manhattan, facing a steel door with no handle, only a shimmering purple triangle etched near the top, he wasn't so sure anymore. He knocked twice. A small hatch slid open, revealing a single violet eye framed by heavy black eyeliner. "Name?" the voice purred. "Julian Black," Cameron replied, using the alias from his fake membership profile. "Initiate." Level 0. A pause. Then a click, and the heavy door creaked inward. "Welcome to Andromeda, sweetling." Inside was like stepping into a dream dipped in oil and lace. Neon violets and deep blues shimmered off velvet walls. Masked figures swayed on chaise lounges, watched by dominants in ornate leather harnesses. Soft music pulsed like a slow heartbeat. But the real energy came from something unspoken, a tension that wrapped around Cameron's chest like a corset. He adjusted the discreet camera rigged to his coat button. He only needed 30 minutes. "Get the footage. Get out." A tall woman approached, her presence cutting through the air like a blade. She wore a sleek tuxedo with obsidian studs and moved with theatrical elegance. "I'm Syra," she said. "Escort handler. You're new. I was invited by—" "Valeries," Cameron said, hoping the alias held weight. Syra's eyebrow arched. Valeries always had an eye for potential. Her gaze trailed down Cameron's frame with deliberate slowness. "Follow me." She led him down a velvet corridor, past closed doors painted with glittering symbols, moons, hourglasses, silk fans. A door marked with a silver teardrop opened as they passed, revealing a man bound in a corset, sobbing into the lap of a stern redhead stroking his wig. Cameron's grip on his remote trigger tightened. They stopped before a circular chamber surrounded by mirrors. A lone figure stood in the center, her back to them, watching herself in a dozen reflections. "Madame Lux," Syra announced. "Initiate Julian." Level 0. The woman turned. Madame Lux was devastating. Crimson lips, obsidian eyes, and a body poured into a shimmering indigo gown. But it was her smile, cold and knowing, that made Cameron's stomach twist. "Let's see what you're really here for," she said. Before he could respond, 2 silent guards materialized behind him. Hands seized his arms. The remote camera was ripped away. "I'm just here to watch," Cameron said, voice tight. "Wrong answer," Lux whispered. She walked toward him, high heels echoing like clock chimes. "You're here to learn." Cameron's arms were pulled behind him. His jacket was stripped, revealing the high-end mic pinned beneath. Lux smiled with disappointment. "Another little spy," she murmured. "They never learn." "Look," Cameron began, "I'm not here to hurt anyone. I was just told." "You were told lies," Lux interrupted. "This isn't a story. It's a right." With a gesture, the guards dragged him into a side room bathed in lavender light. A silver vanity stood against one wall, flanked by racks of delicate garments. Cameron was forced into a high-backed chair. Cuffs locked his ankles and wrists in place. Lux stood before him with a velvet box. "I don't believe in punishments, Mr. Vale. I believe in revelation." The box opened, revealing a delicate pink choker, satin gloves, and something that looked like a lace-lined corset too small for any comfort. "You're going to see what it feels like," Lux said. "To become what you mock." "I didn't mock anything," Cameron protested. But Lux simply pressed a gloved finger to his lips. "Sure. Tonight, you become Camilla." Camilla's first lesson. Cameron didn't know which burned worse, his wrists from the cuffs that bound him, or the shame rising in his chest like fire. He wasn't afraid of weird clubs. He'd seen a lot over the years. But this wasn't a club. This was a ritual. A ceremony of control. And now he was the center of it. Madame Lux moved like a panther as she circled the chair, her fingers trailing over lace and steel. She opened a slim drawer in the wall and removed a tablet. Cameron tried to twist away, but the cuffs held firm. "Camilla," she said softly. "That's here now." "No," he whispered, barely able to breathe. She didn't respond, not with words. She simply pressed a button. A hidden panel in the wall slid open, revealing a tall figure with smooth features and platinum hair tied in a strict bun. They wore a black and white uniform, part nurse, part butler, part executioner of identity. "This is Astra," Lux said. "They'll begin your induction. Resistance is expected, but not tolerated." Cameron's protest died in his throat as Astra stepped forward with a pair of scissors. With eerie precision, they began to cut away his shirt. Each snip sounded louder than thunder. "Don't. This is illegal," Cameron cried. "No," Lux said. "This is transformation." His pants were next. His shoes pulled off. Piece by piece, he was reduced to nothing but skin and trembling breath. And then the real work began. The shaving cream smelled like lavender. A bizarre choice for something so clinical. Cameron clenched his jaw as Astra began shaving his legs with long, careful strokes. His chest followed. Then his arms. Each pass of the blade didn't just remove hair, it removed identity. Lux watched from the corner, sipping wine. "You'll thank me for this later, Camilla." "Don't call me that," he muttered. She smiled. "You'll beg me to soon." Next came the undergarments. Astra held up a delicate pair of white satin panties with pink bows and waited. When Cameron didn't move, they pulled them up his legs like dressing a doll. The sensation sent ice down his spine. Then a soft bralette, its lace pressing against freshly shaved skin. A corset followed, tight, suffocating, but form-shaping. He was dressed like a parody. "But Lux?" She didn't laugh. She studied him like he was a sculpture in progress. "I want heels next," she said to Astra. 4-inch, ankle strap. Let her feel every step. 20 minutes later, Cameron stood, wobbled, in front of a full-length mirror. He didn't recognize himself. The makeup was light, but enough to blur the lines of who he'd been. Soft blush, lip tint, mascara. Just enough. Enough to push him past a point of no return. "This is insane," he murmured. Lux appeared beside him in the mirror. "It's beautiful." She reached up and clipped the pink choker around his neck. On the charm dangling from it, "Camilla." "You've taken my name," Cameron whispered. "No," she said. "I've given you a new one." That night, Camilla was led to the Dahlia room. It wasn't a cell. Not exactly. It was worse. The room was decorated like a hyper-feminine dream. Pastel pink wallpaper, white vanity table with heart-shaped mirrors, frilly bedding with stuffed animals on top. It was the prison of someone who thought dollhood was destiny. "Sleep well, Camilla," Astra said softly, locking the door behind them. Cameron Camilla sat on the edge of the bed. His legs still tingled from the waxing. His ribs ached from the corset. And his mind was a maze of panic and adrenaline. He reached under the vanity and found nothing. No tools. No wires. Nothing he could use. Then he saw it, a faint scuff mark near the baseboard. Like someone had tried to scratch a message into the wall. He crawled to it, reading in the dim light. "Camilla, if you're reading this, you're not alone." His breath caught. Someone else had been here. Someone who'd called themselves Camilla too? How many had there been? The next morning, he was woken by Astra's gentle knock. "Time for your first lesson, sweetling." Camilla was brought to a hall that resembled a ballet studio. Mirrors on one wall. Polished floor. A row of girls, or former boys, he realized lined up in similar outfits. All perfectly still. "You will learn," Lux announced from a perch by the window, "to walk, to curtsy, to speak, to serve." Cameron shook his head. "I'm not doing this." "Every refusal earns a punishment," she replied. 3, and we erase your old name from the registry." He blinked. "What registry?" "The world's," she said coldly. "We have our ways." That day was a blur of painful walks in too high heels, curtsies that earned only silence, and 1,000 reminders that Camilla must smile, glide, obey. His defiance waned, but didn't break. Not yet. But during a short water break, a girl with sharp green eyes leaned in beside him. "You're new," she whispered. He nodded warily. "You want out?" His head turned. "My name's Rowan. I've been planning something. You want in?" Camilla blinked. And for the first time since he walked through the door of Andromeda, he whispered, "Yes. The dollhouse has cracks." That night, Camilla didn't sleep. Not because of the corset or the heels or the humiliating lingerie they made her wear to bed. She didn't sleep because of one word: escape. And Rowan's voice repeating it in her mind like a lifeline. "You want out?" By morning, the Dahlia room felt even more like a trap. She stared at herself in the mirror, lip gloss faintly smudged, satin bow at her neck, stockings clinging to her legs. It wasn't just what she was wearing anymore. It was what they were turning her into. But Cameron Vale hadn't been broken yet. And neither would Camilla. When Astra entered with a pastel blue maid dress and platform heels, Camilla bit her lip hard enough to draw blood, but said nothing. Compliance was survival. Resistance would come later, smarter. The lesson today: serving tea to superiors while maintaining posture, voice, and subservient eye contact. Each mistake earned a flick of the crop. Each hesitation earned a warning. Rowan was nearby, dressed in a black and pink uniform, her eyes burning with silent rage every time Mistress Lux passed. At the end of the session, Camilla finally got her chance. While collecting silver trays and wiping spills from the mirrored floor, she felt Rowan brush past her and whisper, "Tonight. 3rd floor. Storage closet with the blue lock." Camilla barely nodded, heart thudding in her chest. Hours passed like molasses. Back in the Dahlia room, Camilla pretended to nap, but every creak of the hallway door, every heel click outside made her bolt upright. At 2:09 a.m., the guards passed on their 3rd patrol. Exactly as Rowan had predicted. She moved. The hallway was lined with soft lights, glowing pink and purple. The club never really slept, it simply dimmed. She crept past the ballroom, where soft music still played for 2 lingering performers twirling beneath a fog machine. The 3rd floor was quiet. Almost unnervingly so. Camilla found the door, steel gray, blue padlock. She knocked softly. It opened immediately. Rowan stood inside, flashlight in hand. She wore simple flats now, and her makeup was scrubbed clean. For the first time, she looked like a person, not a project. "You came," she said. Camilla stepped in and shut the door behind her. "Of course." The room was small, supply crates, hangers, rows of boxed heels, a mirror turned to face the wall. There were 2 others already inside. One was a wiry boy with lipstick smeared halfway down his chin. The other was a quiet, heavy-set girl with haunted eyes. "This is Declan," Rowan said, gesturing to the boy. "He got caught trying to send a message out 2 months ago. They punished him by rebranding him as Delilah and putting him in the showroom." Delilah nodded slightly, refusing to meet Camilla's eyes. "And this is June. She's been here the longest." They stopped calling her by her old name years ago. June gave a tiny wave. "Hi. You're Camilla." Camilla felt her stomach drop. "You already know?" Rowan nodded. "You're not the first person Lux has renamed Camilla. That's the sick part. She picks one every few months, molds them, breaks them, then discards them once they submit fully." Delilah mumbled, "I was almost a Camilla." They laid out the plan. Tomorrow night, during the Velvet Showcase, an exclusive event where VIP guests watched a private performance from the most obedient dolls, several of them would be stationed near the guest lounge. Rowan had snagged a master key card from a careless handler. June had memorized the guard rotation. Declan could disrupt the lights using a relay near the performance booth. "But we need a distraction," Rowan said. "Something big enough to pull Lux's attention away." Camilla blinked. "What if I volunteer to perform?" Rowan narrowed her eyes. "You'd go up there? After everything?" "If it gives you an opening," Camilla said, voice tight, "I'll be their perfect doll. Just long enough." Rowan stared at her. Then nodded. "You're braver than I thought." Camilla wasn't sure if it was bravery or desperation. But it didn't matter anymore. The next day was a blur. Camilla requested to speak with Lux, citing a change of heart. She expected suspicion. Instead, Lux smiled. "I told you," she whispered, brushing a thumb across Camilla's painted cheek. "They always return to me." By 6 p.m., Camilla was in the dressing room, wearing a sheer white tutu, shimmering tights, a velvet corset so tight she could barely breathe. Her lips were ruby red. Her eyes smoky. Her nails painted a glossy lavender. She didn't look like Cameron Vale. She didn't even look like herself. The lights dimmed in the private hall. 30 guests. Wealthy, masked, bored. A string quartet began to play. Camilla stepped into the spotlight, body trembling. She danced. Delicately. Mechanically. Perfectly. Every step, every twirl, was exactly what Lux wanted. Because she wasn't dancing for them. She was dancing for time. Behind the scenes, Rowan and June were moving through the guest wing. Declan was at the relay panel. And Camilla? She danced like a doll being wound to her breaking point. Suddenly, boom. The lights went out. Sparks flew from the rafters. Screams erupted. A spotlight burst into flames. Camilla hit the floor hard, scraping her knees. The room exploded into chaos. Camilla ripped off her heels and ran barefoot through the darkened corridor, throwing off her tutu as she bolted past confused staff and disoriented guards. She turned the corner and collided with Rowan. "Go!" Rowan barked. "The exit's open. June's covering for you. What about you?" "I'll slow them down." Camilla ran. Down the back hallway. Through the loading bay. Out the fire escape. She tumbled into the cold night air, dressed in only her corset, tights, and tears. Her heart pounded like thunder. Her breath hitched. And then, headlights. A car pulled up. The passenger door flew open. "Get in." It was Alex. The journalist she had seen in the audience days earlier, the one who had met her eyes during her performance. She dove inside, and he floored the gas. As the car tore through the dark streets of Manhattan, Camilla clutched the seatbelt with trembling hands. Alex looked at her. "You're safe now," he said. "But this isn't over. Freedom isn't free, and I wasn't really free." The city lights blurred past the windows of the black SUV as Camilla huddled against the door, adrenaline crashing hard. Her bare legs trembled beneath the sheer remnants of her performance tights. The velvet corset still clung to her like a reminder she couldn't shake off. Alex didn't speak for the first few blocks. He just drove fast, focused, and glancing at the rearview mirror like a man who knew he was being followed. "Where are we going?" Camilla finally asked, voice thin and raw. "Safe house in Brooklyn," he said. "Just hold on. We'll get there in 20. She exhaled and let her head fall back. The night air streamed through the cracked window. It should have felt like freedom. But all she could feel was watched. The safe house was tucked behind a shuttered tailor's shop on a quiet street. Inside, it was warm and sterile, bare furniture, blackout curtains, a mattress on the floor, and a single laptop glowing on a folding table. "You can shower here," Alex offered, handing her a clean robe and a sealed towel pack. "There's food in the bag. Take your time." Camilla stared at him. "Why are you helping me?" He paused. "Because you're not the only one who tried to escape that place." She blinked. "You mean?" "My sister," Alex said, jaw tightening. "They called her Petal. She disappeared 2 years ago. I think Lux kept her. Reconditioned her. I found photos in underground forums. Different name, different face, same eyes." Camilla felt her knees go weak. "So, this wasn't just about exposing them?" He looked at her, eyes dark. "It was about finding her. You're the first to make it out and stay conscious." She nodded slowly. Then whispered, "We have to go back." Over the next few days, Camilla's body began to heal, but her mind raced constantly. Rowan. June. Declan. Still inside. She stared at the laptop while Alex uploaded encrypted footage from the camera he'd stashed in the performance hall. Clips of masked guests, electrical failures, and Camilla's final dance. But the real bombshell came from the metadata inside the stolen master keycard Rowan had smuggled out. Look at this, Alex said one night. This file, Camilla_07. They've used your name 7 times. Camilla leaned in. There they were, photos. 7 different Camillas. Different builds. Different faces. All molded in similar ways. All eventually retired. They're running a program, Alex said. Lux doesn't just train submissives, she erases identities. Replaces them with templates. Brands. Camilla felt bile rise in her throat. And then an alert flashed on the laptop. Facial recognition match. User Camilla_03 equals Elisa Vane equals deceased. Wait, Alex whispered. This girl was reported dead last year. But this timestamp shows her working in the VIP lounge just 6 weeks ago. Camilla's pulse jumped. They're faking deaths, she asked. Creating new records? That means they're laundering people, Alex muttered. Not just reprogramming them. And then something clicked. I saw paperwork, Camilla said, when I was being prepped backstage. Lux had folders labeled donor continuity, persona map, and behavior loops. It's not just control. It's manufacture. Alex sat back slowly. This is bigger than fetish clubs. This is a human identity market. Camilla's hands curled into fists. They think I'm a broken doll they tossed aside. Let's prove them wrong. But just as the plan to go public came together, everything crumbled. That night, Camilla walked into the bathroom, flipped on the light, and saw something taped to the mirror. A pink ribbon. One of the exact ribbons they used in the dressing room at Andromeda. Her breath caught. She spun, heart hammering. Nothing. The door hadn't been forced. The windows were still sealed. But someone had been here. She called out Alex. But the apartment was silent. She searched every room. Gone. His bag. His files. His laptop. His phone. All gone. Only one thing remained, a handwritten note under the ribbon. You're still mine, Camilla. L. Camilla's body moved before her brain did. She grabbed the burner phone and dialed the one contact left from the original escape plan, Cassie. The line rang once. Twice. Then connected. A whisper on the other end, Camilla. Cassie. Are you safe? I'm not sure, Cassie said. Rowan's gone. June was taken last night. Declan. I think he was outed. They're purging us. Lux knows. Camilla gritted her teeth. Alex is gone. I think they took him. Cassie hesitated. There's still someone on the inside. Someone they don't know about. Her name's Morel. She's in Lux's personal staff. I've never met her, but Rowan said she's planning something big. Camilla's voice cracked. How do I find her? She'll find you, Cassie said. Just survive until then. And don't trust anyone who calls you Camilla without fear in their voice. The phone clicked off. Camilla sat back in the corner of the apartment, wrapping herself in the robe, staring at the pink ribbon on the mirror. Her stomach churned. Alex was missing. Lux had breached her sanctuary. And the more she thought about it, she wasn't even sure Alex was who he claimed to be. The doll who fought back. Camilla sat frozen in the corner of the safe house, staring at the mirror where the pink ribbon hung delicate, mocking, terrifying. Lux had been here. She hadn't just sent a warning. She had marked her territory. Camilla should have run. Changed identities again. Disappeared into the wind like one of the other Camillas before her. But instead, she stood. Something had shifted inside her. Not Cameron Vale rising from the ashes. But Camilla, not Lux's version, but her own. The next evening, she made her move. She changed into nondescript clothing, hoodie, dark jeans, no makeup. She tucked her hair beneath a cap. Just another tired woman on the subway. But inside her chest? A bomb ticking with purpose. Cassie had said someone inside was still fighting. Morel. Camilla needed to find her. But she didn't need to be invited to Club Andromeda this time. She was already on the guest list, Camilla_07. She entered through the side alley. Not the front door this time. Not the way she came in as prey. This time, she used the service entrance. The one she'd memorized from training. She snuck through the hallways like a phantom, ducking behind curtains and columns, her breathing shallow. Voices echoed in the ballroom. Lux was hosting another velvet showcase. Perfect. It meant the private floors were mostly empty. She reached the third level, past the dressing room, past the guest corridor. And then she found it. A door marked with a shimmering symbol. Crystal Ball, the mirror room. The inside was cold. Lit only by silver sconces, the room was lined with full-length mirrors, hundreds of them. And in the center? Dolls. Not mannequins. People. Dozens of young women, seated in high-backed chairs, staring into mirrors. Unmoving. Silent. Dressed immaculately. Camilla crept closer and gasped. Each one had a nameplate on their chest. Camilla_02. Camilla_03. Camilla_05. The archive. Lux hadn't discarded the previous Camillas. She had stored them. Reconditioned, restrained, and displayed like trophies. And in the farthest corner, one girl was blinking slowly, eyes glassy but not completely gone. Camilla whispered, "Cassie." But it wasn't her. The girl looked up, lips trembling. "Are you her? The one who escaped?" Camilla knelt. "Who are you?" "My name used to be Morel." Her breath caught. "You're the one. The insider." Morel nodded. "They caught me last week. Said I was too curious. Too awake. They rewired me. But it didn't take completely." She touched the back of her neck. "Too many years of pretending made me immune." Camilla reached out. "Can you walk?" Morel nodded slowly. "But we won't make it far. The room is under biometric lock." Camilla looked around. "Then we turn the room against them." They used a comms console behind the mirror wall, one Camilla remembered seeing, but never using. Morel accessed it using her fingerprint, just barely avoiding the alert triggers. Within seconds, they had access to the internal speaker system. Camilla took a deep breath, then hit record. Her voice rang out across every floor. "This is Camilla_07. You know me. Or at least, the version of me Lux tried to create. But I remember who I was. And I see all of you. Locked in these mirrors. Paraded around as identities Lux stole. We are not her dolls. And tonight, we take her stage back." Chaos exploded below. Some submissives screamed in realization. Some dominants panicked. The spell was broken. Camilla and Morel ran, dodging confused handlers and guests. Doors flung open. Security scrambled. And then, in the stairwell, she came face to face with her. Lux. Wearing a midnight blue gown, her heels silent. Her eyes like knives. "You're even more exquisite when you disobey," she said calmly. Camilla raised her voice. "It's over, Lux. I've broadcasted your collection. Every room has seen the truth." Lux smiled. "And what will they do, Camilla? Run? Hide? This place owns their shame. It feeds on it." "You're wrong," Camilla said. "It fed on fear. But not anymore." Lux stepped forward. "You still wear the name I gave you." Camilla stepped between her and Morel. "No. I took it back. You didn't make me. You only revealed me." Lux moved fast, reaching into her coat. But Camilla was faster. She grabbed the taser she'd hidden in her waistband and fired. Lux hit the floor with a thud, twitching, dress crumpled. Morel stared in stunned silence. "Didn't know you had a weapon," she muttered. "I didn't either," Camilla said breathlessly. "It was Alex's. I found it in the safe house wall panel. I think he left it for me." Police raided Club Andromeda that night. Not because of Camilla's escape. Because Morel triggered the final protocol, sending every room feed, every identity log, every Camilla file to 3 major news outlets. The Velvet Showcase turned into the Velvet Scandal. Camilla testified anonymously. She didn't want her old life back. Because she wasn't Cameron Vale anymore. Not really. She wasn't Lux's Camilla either. She was her own. Months passed. The club was gone. Lux disappeared. But whispers said she was still out there, operating under a new name. Still trying to build dolls. But this time, Camilla was watching. Working with survivors. Building safe spaces. Helping others unlearn the shame forced on them. She walked down the street one spring evening, the city buzzing around her. Someone called out behind her. "Hey, Camilla." She turned. It was Rowan, alive, free, with a sly smile and a healed scar across her cheek. "You still fighting?" Camilla smiled. I'm just getting started. Sparkle's epilogue. The girl in the mirror wasn't me. Until she was. 6 months later. Camilla sat in front of a mirror again, but this time, it wasn't in a velvet prison. It was in a sunlit room on the top floor of a modest building in Queens. On the wall behind her, a small plaque read, "The Reflection Room, a healing space for survivors of identity abuse." Sponsored by the Freeform Initiative, founded by Camilla Vale. The lipstick on the table was soft rose, the kind she used to think was for someone else. The eyeliner had no power over her anymore. Neither did the mirror. She leaned forward, not to correct a flaw or obey a gaze, but to look herself in the eye. "I see you," she whispered. "And I love you." Behind her, the sound of soft laughter filtered in from the hallway. Rowan was teaching a self-defense class. Cassie was helping 2 new girls fill out their first legal name change forms. Morel was upstairs building a digital archive of every known Camilla Lux had tried to erase. They were rebuilding what was taken from them. One word. One walk. One woman at a time. That night, Camilla walked the streets of Manhattan free, whole, unnoticed for the first time in ages. No corset. No leash. No shadow behind her. Just the city. Just her. And when she passed a boutique shop with a mirror in the window, she didn't look away. She smiled. Because for the first time in her life, the girl in the mirror wasn't someone she feared. She was home.